mind wanders. It just wanders, and you think, "How did I get onto that subject? How did my mind just go onto that tangent?" And you think about, well, it just happens. It just happens, and then sometimes you think about, how come my body feels this way? It feels a bit yuck or just not functioning well. Well, this episode of Me and My Health Up is going to help you better understand why this happens. So, yes, we're talking about well-being, and in the context of the second law of thermodynamics, which I'll share with you shortly as to what is the second law of thermodynamics. But before we get into that, I want to share with you that the purpose of this podcast is to enhance and enlighten your well-being. I'm the host, Anthony Harcher. I'm a clinical nutritionist and lifestyle medicine specialist with a real interest in physics, biology, chemistry, and I apply that to my patients or my clients in my practice. And it's all about enhancing and enlightening their well-being. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you on this episode, is how you can enhance and enlighten your well-being through this understanding of the second law of thermodynamics. I first came across this law when I was studying at university. I was studying my chemical engineering degree, and I had no idea what thermodynamics was all about, and particularly this second law. And it was really difficult to conceptualize or to grasp. And I just wanted to share with you what it is, and I'm going to share what it is actually, and then break it down in terms of layman terms so that you understand. And then how does this apply to health, and in particular mental health and our physical health? Well, in terms of, we need to understand what entropy is, right? Entropy is, it quantifies the amount of energy in a system that is not available to do work. Okay, you're probably thinking, what the hell is that? Well, this is often referred to as the level of disorder or randomness in a system. Okay, so you'd probably understand what disorder is. We have disorder in society when people are protesting, or they're making a point and they might get a bit out of hand, or we may go ourselves, our mood might change and we get angry. And in essence, what's happening there is we're going into a very disordered state and we don't have regulation over our emotions. So you've probably experienced this. We have disorder in terms of blood sugar spikes, and that's when we feel really high. And then all of a sudden we notice that drop. And what's happening there is, in essence, over time, the body is finding its order. It's trying to get back to order, but in the process, it's disordered. And so, what entropy is a measure of randomness in a system, or a measure of disorder, or a measure of the inability of a system to, or the amount of energy in the system to do actual work. What work does is create order. Like when you put work into your household mess, you bring order to it. It's in a disordered state. You put work in and you create order. Now, how does this relate to the second law of thermodynamics? Well, the law states that the total entropy of an isolated system can never decrease over time. So what this is saying, that over time, entropy can only increase. So the system will go to a state of disorder from order, right? So it is ordered in terms of the energy in there that is able to do work, is doing work, and is maintaining order. But over time, this order will dissipate. This order will become disordered, and the amount of energy that's available to do work is less. And so there's less available energy. Now, it's very much very distorted from the original message. And so this applies to communication. It applies to relationships. When you're not constantly putting work into the relationship becomes disordered. It just naturally starts to fall apart unless you're putting time and energy into creating an ordered relationship, and a relationship that works. We need to apply it to communication. Unless we're putting effort in to communicate, communication becomes disordered. It breaks down over time. So we need to apply it to all facets of life. It's like your organization around your desktop. Unless you're putting effort in to creating order, over time, it will become disordered, chaotic. And so we see that around our workplace. We see that in our household. Unless we're putting time and energy